It's Pipes Drums, and we are really excited to be here with Anna Kummerlöw. Anna is one of the most successful pipers, solo pipers from Germany. She's coming to us from her hometown in Klaudrund, in northern Germany. And thanks a lot, Anna, for
Oh,
taking the
hello.
time.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome. Um, we thought we'd want to start. I mean, obviously Germany is not one of the Commonwealth countries with a lot of piping history. So, what's the piping scene like in Germany? Tell us a bit about it.
Well, the piping scene is actually bigger than you would think in Germany. It's maybe not as high standard as in Scotland, but we do have a lot of players and a lot of enthusiastic players. And we also have a lot of events. So we have like, I think it's two, three major big outside Highland games, which are very, very, very big. I think you can remember Perth when they had piping, and it's at least that big. And then we have a few indoor competitions, and there are in every category, basically, we have about, I don't know, 15 competitors, and from beginners, obviously, to advanced. And but it gets smaller in the top grades, so I'm more or less on my own with maybe one or two other players in the higher grades. But in general, it's very, very big, the German piping scene.
And would those you have different grades of piping like they do around the world, or
Yes, so we have come up with the grading system grade 5 to 1. 1 would be my level, and in grade 5, the people play a slow air and a simple two-parted march, for example, on the pipes. And then we also have a practice center competition, so that's for the really beginners.
interesting? Um, okay, so it sounds like a pretty normal sort of but smaller scene, but familiar to most people. But how did you personally get involved in piping?
Well, you have to blame my parents. My father heard a busker one day in Hamburg and he fell in love with the bagpipes. He was looking for a teacher. He dragged my mother along. So they both started to learn the bagpipes and then they made me. And when I was 12 or so, I asked my father to also teach me the bagpipes, and that's when it all started.
And like most pipers, successful pipers, you probably got really good instruction from the beginning.
Well, yes, in the first few years, my father taught me the basics, and he was very, very strict with playing slowly but very clearly and make everything right from the start. And then when he thought he couldn't teach me anymore, he drove like literally with the car to Scotland, and we got a week's tuition at the piping center, and that's when our connection to Scotland started. And then I asked around. I had been getting lessons from John Angus Smith, and I was also visiting summer schools and met Willie McCallum, who then introduced me into Pibroch. And now since 2014, I've been getting lessons from Callum Beaumont online.
So yeah, you're seeking out the top quality instruction, and oftentimes, I guess it takes that first instructor to know when he or she can't take you any further and take you to someone else. So that's always very important. Sounds like you had that from your dad. Um, so you've been really successful on the Scottish solo scene. We see your name a lot in the prize lists, doing well against some of the best in the world, and you're right up there. But being in Germany, how do you keep your playing sharp? How do you stay keep that edge that you need to compete with the best in the world?
Well, it is hard work, I would say, but that's the same for everybody else. I do try and get as many lessons with Callum as I can to like keep me accountable. And I also do little like fun competitions with my friend Susie, and we play in front of each other and be our judges and write crit sheets and everything. But I also try and take part in all of the events I mentioned earlier, and just practice playing in front of people, and of course daily practice as we all do or should do.
Hmm. And you mentioned Susie. Is that Susie Klinger?
Yeah, that's right. We both work for the Dudelsackschule and we do some projects together. Currently, we're working on a book, top secret. But been doing a lot of things, and that's also how we keep each other motivated and yeah, do things related to piping.
So the Dudelsack Schuland, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so for the last, I think it's 2 years, I've been working for the Dudelsackschule. I give lessons online and as I just said, work on little projects, do videos. They've just launched a new app for like it's in German and English from beginners to advanced to teach piping. And Andreas Hamsch, who's the owner of the Dudelsackschule, he says his goal is to get a practice center in everybody's hand.
That's so that's terrific. And how many do you think piping is growing in Germany?
Oh, I think so. We only in the Dudelsackschule we get basically pupils, new pupils every day, and there are other teaching institutions in Germany as well. And I don't know if you've heard, but 1 or 2 years ago, the BAG, which is the Bagpipe Association of Germany, they have started the National Youth Pipe Band of Germany. So that's something new, and that attracts kids and teenagers. I think they start as early as 8 or 6 to 25 or 26. And yeah, there are more people every day.
That's fantastic. It seems like the National Youth Pipe Band of Scotland has really inspired other countries to try to take
Oh,
the
yes.
same approach. That's
Oh,
great to
yes.
hear. You know, thinking of German based Highland pipers, Martin Kessler comes to mind. Martin, did was quite successful in the maybe 2000s, 1990s, was prominent and did well on the Scottish scene. Um, were you inspired by Martin's success?
Yes, more or less. I remember when I was 13, he would come to our ho house and give a workshop for my father's band. And a good teacher that he was, he tried to introduce me to Pibroch. I remember sitting in the garden together with him, and he would teach me Lament for Dawn of Lagan. And I found that so boring. And I thought, well, Pibroch isn't for me, but he was trying. And a few years later, he would win the gold medal at Braemar, obviously, and we'd still be in contact. And I thought, oh, well, that's something that's just not in my world, never to reach that. So he was the piper, the German piper for me at that time. So and still is. He's still playing well, obviously. So
Yeah.
yes, I directly got inspired by him.
Yeah, nice. And I'm sure he's very proud of you, doing so well on the UK piping circuit, and now at some of the much larger gatherings at Open Inverness. So that's great. So what about piping just overall in Germany? What do you think the future looks like for piping in Germany?
Well, I would wish that more pipers took the challenge and come to Scotland to compete. I know a few are. This year at the Northern Meeting, I met Niklas Hemke, who is, I think he's 16 years old, but he was playing at the Northern Meeting in the under 18 Pibroch, and he did pretty well. He was second. So, and I hope with, for example, the National Youth Pipe Band and the Dudelsackschule, we can inspire and motivate more people to come to Scotland. There are more people every day, as I mentioned, so that is good. And now we have to bring the quality up a little bit.
Well, that's terrific. I'm sure, just like Martin Kessler and others inspired you, you are inspiring other
Thank you.
German-based young players and older players to do as well as they can. So it's been a pleasure talking to you, Anna.
Thank you
And
very much.
congratulations on your success. May it continue on to bigger and better things in the future. And really appreciate the time you've taken to speak with us today.
Thanks for having me.
That's Anna Kummerlöw, coming to us from her hometown in northern Germany. Anna's one of the big prize winners, emerging talents coming out of Germany, doing really well on the Scottish scene, and we'll be watching her career closely as she progresses. Stay tuned for more from Pipes Drums.